Samanta was a title and position used by the army people of kings in India. The institution of Samanta finds mention for the first time in epigraphs of northern India dating to the 6th century. The institution is considered to belong properly to the Gupta Empire and is closely associated with the origin and growth of feudalism in India. However, the institution is known to have existed prior to the Gupta period, though details on them are vague. A Pallava inscription dating to the time of Santavarman uses the term Samanta Tudamanaya. The Samanta in South India was used to mean a vassal to an emperor. In North India, the earliest use of the term in a similar sense was in Bengal in the Barabar Hill cave inscription of the Sukari chief, Anantavarman, in which his father is described as the Samanta Tudamani of the imperial Guptas. The Samanta vassal provided military support to the monarch and governed over a portion of a territory. Early development. The term Samanta originally meant a neighbor, and in the Mauryan period, the term referred to the independent ruler of an adjoining territory, as is evident from its use in the Arthashastra and Ashokan edicts. The border kings mentioned by Samudragupta in his Allahabad Prashasti were such Samantas in the original use of the term. However, the term underwent a change, and came to mean a vassal, by the end of the Gupta period and in the post-Gupta period. In fact, the institution of the Samanta was the main innovation that distinguished the post-Gupta period from the periods of ancient India. By the end of the Gupta period and by the 6th century, the term Samanta came to be universally accepted as the prince of a subjugated but reinstated tributary region. Early kingdoms of medieval India would surround themselves with a Samanta chakra, that is, a circle of tributary chiefs. By the time of King Harshavardhana, the institution of the Samanta had become well developed and the Samantas came to be considered powerful figures. In order to integrate them into the hierarchy of the realm, they were often given high positions in the court. One such example is the king of Valapi, who was defeated by King Harsha and became a Maha Samanta. This Valapi king then rose under Emperor Harsha to the position of a Maha Pratihara and went on to become a Maha Dandanaika. In effect, the institution of the Samanta brought rulers of fragmented tribalistic, small independent regions under subjugation to serve the king or emperor as vassals. The office of the Samanta represented semantic change in state formation from an independent neighbor to a tributary chief and finally to a high-ranking court official. Types of Samanta. Banabhatta describes several types of Samantas in his work, Harsha-charita. Banna's Harsha-charita is the only work from which we know of various categories of Samantas. Banna mentions a large number of conquered enemy Maha-Samantas in the royal camp who were probably waiting to be assigned the new duties. Some types of Samantas mentioned by Banabhatta are Samanta, which signified the lowest and ordinary type of vassal. Mathasamantha, a step higher than a Samanta. Kshatramahasamanta, a conquered enemy chief. Aptasamanta, those who willingly accepted vassalage and the emperor as their overlord. Pradhanamathasamanta, who were most trusted hands of the emperor and never disregarded their advice. Pratisamanta, who were opposed to the king and meant a hostile vassal. Though hostile, also Mantas had military obligations. If they did not fulfill their obligations, the king could seize the territory and appoint a new Samanta. Despite that, some Samantas, however, would keep trying to throw off their allegiance to the king and assert their own independent rule. Banabhatta uses the term Inuraktamathasamanta only once, and it possibly meant those especially attached to their overlord. Obligations of the Samanta. For the Harsha-charita, we understand that the Samanta had 5 duties. They are paying yearly tributes to the emperor, paying homage to the emperor in person, Defeated Samantas had to offer the sons and minor princes to the emperor so that they are groomed in the imperial traditions and grow to be loyal to the emperor, render military aid to the emperor, perform administrative and judicial functions in times of peace. In the nature of rendering military aid, paying tributes and performing administrative and judicial functions, the office of the Samanta is comparable to the office of the Nayaka, which was followed by the Vijayanagar Empire. The Samanta system was followed by several kingdoms across North and South India. In South India, some examples of Samantas in South India are: in the Hoysala Empire, Samantas were feudal chiefs paying vassalitic homage to the Maharaja and served the king as hereditary governors. Some examples and names of the Hoysala hereditary governors are Samanta Chatayar ruling Haliyara, Samanta Goyadeva ruling Magare, and Samanta Bankya ruling Senavadri. Some such as Samanta Gandaradiji ruled over a larger territory of Arakari, Kalaganda, Kundura, Beluga, etc. Put together, in the Chalukya Empire, the banners under Vikramaditya Bali Indra Banaraja, the son of Balakula Tilaka Banaraja, accepted the overlordship of the Chalukyas and proclaimed themselves as Taruna Vasantham and Samanta Kesari. In the Kakatiya dynasty, some examples are of Gonkarai, who rose to become a viceroy, and Beta I. Beta I emerged from a status of the Samanta Vishti Vamsa, a feudatory family from among the Kama Buddhist peasants, and went on to become a feudatory prince within the Chalukya Empire. Beta's son, Prola I, rose to become a Mathimandalsvara under the Chalukya king Samshvara. Further, the son of Prola I, named Beta II, and his grandson named Prola II, assumed princely status in the Kakatiya dynasty. The office of the Samanta was also passed on as a matrilineal inheritance. An example is the Pajuva Panambru inscription of AD 1542, which refers to one Kinaka Samanta being succeeded by his Alya, Dugana Samant, a giant chieftain of Mulki. The chiefs of Mulki served as Samantas and patronized Jainism. In North India, the Samanta feudatories of Sagakula were called Sahi, and their overlord was called Sahanu Sahi. The location of Sagakula is unknown. The Jainist Karlaka describes in his Karlaka Karyukathanaka that a group of Saka kings called Sahi kings were induced to come to India from Sagakula, and after crossing the Indus, they captured Kathiawar and Ujjaini and installed their own Sahi as the king of kings, and began a dynasty. The Sagakula were probably Sakakula western satraps who had been expelled from Sistan by Mithridates of Parthia. It is suggested that Adsura ruled over a small portion of northern Bengal and Bihar as a Samanta king during the Pala rule. A Samanta king named Sarong Adevara Kesari of the Somavamsi family is said to have probably ruled Saramgarh in Orissa. Bardhaman was ruled by a Samanta king, Ichighosh or Iswani-Ghosh of the Kastha community, which his descendants held as his Amindari. In Nepal, in the Nepali realm of the Maharaja of Lichavi, Samantas held feudal domains and played a major part at court. Samantas played a role in other Nepali kingdoms as well. Dr. Regmi writes that in Nepal the Samanatas adopted high-sounding titles such as Maharaja and Maharajadaraja at a time when they were just Samantas. An example is an inscription in which a Samanta of Changu area, named Amsuvama, adopted the title of Maharajadaraja. They were not seen giving up the title of Samanta even after adopting a higher-sounding title. One such example is Matha Samanta Maharaja Sri Kamala. Regmi compares this situation with the Indian side, where the title of Maharaja was used by both the king as well as his feud feudatories, such as the feudatory of Sasnaka in Midnapur, Sri Samanta Maharaja Samadatta, who ruled Dandabhakti of Utkala. The position of a Samanta was also acquired by marrying into the ruling family. An example is Balaraja of Chaun Rajasthan Arkit of Jumla, who was made a Samanta Raja of the state after he married the daughter of Medini Varma, who was the heiress of Semya. After marriage, Balaraja was virtually the head of all feudatory chiefs of the kingdom. This was elucidated in a copper plate inscription of 1404 AD. Samantarayu. This compound Indian title refers to a territorial vassal, a governor under a king or monarch, in exchange for certain guarantees in South India. This should not be confused with the titles given in the colonial British India.